All right, have you ever found yourself just completely obsessed with an idea, maybe a career or a lifestyle you've only ever seen from the outside? It's this really powerful pull, right? This tendency we have to glorify things from a distance. Well, today we're going to dive right into that allure of what we'll call the vaunted path.
So, to really get this, we've got to start with one key word: vaunted. Now, what does that even mean? Well, it's when something is talked up, praised, celebrated, but maybe, just maybe, more than it actually deserves. It's kind of like the gap between how amazing something looks on the brochure and what it's actually like when you get there. And that gap, that's exactly what we're going to dissect.
And that brings us to the real heart of the matter. Why do we do this? What is it inside of us that makes us admire and, let's be honest, sometimes even envy things we've never, ever experienced for ourselves? This isn't just some idle daydreaming, It's a really powerful, superhuman impulse that can actually shape some of the biggest decisions we make in our lives.
Okay, to make this super clear, I want you to just picture this. You're at your desk, it's a mess, there are bills piling up, and you're staring at a glowing poster on the wall of some perfect, untouched tropical island. You know that feeling, that deep sigh, that gap between your messy reality and that perfect, idealized image? That is exactly what we're talking about.
So what's going on in our heads in that exact moment? You might think it's about willpower or something, but it's not. The answer is actually rooted deep in the way our brains are wired. It's all about the mental shortcuts our minds absolutely love to take, and that's what creates this incredibly powerful pull.
Okay, so deep down, we are all pattern-seeking creatures. I mean, our brains literally evolved to find the quickest, most efficient way to get things done. It's a survival thing, right? We see a path that looks good, it seems to be working for other people, and our brain just goes, yep, that's the one, that's the shortcut.
But here's where that simple, efficient drive gets, well, a little dangerous. It gets all tangled up with our ego, and it creates a seriously flawed loop. It starts simply enough. First, we search for that efficient pattern. Then, second, we decide that some vaunted path, the perfect job, the ideal lifestyle, is the right one. But then, step 3, this is where things get tricky. Our ego kicks in. It needs to protect our identity, our feeling that we're a smart person who makes good choices. We have to feel right. And to protect that feeling, we hit step 4. We start to actively ignore any facts, any messy realities that might prove our perfect idea is, well, wrong.
So you've got this huge gap, right, between what we want to believe is true and what's actually true. And there's this one single, really powerful metaphor that captures it perfectly: the view from the balcony versus the reality on the stage. Just let this sink in for a second. The loudest applause often comes from the balcony, not the stage. It sounds so simple, but it's such a profound idea, isn't it? The people who are furthest away from the actual action, they're often the ones cheering the loudest.
And this just illustrates the difference so perfectly. First, you've got the balcony. That's all about perception. It's where everyone is praising the final achievement, right? Glorifying that shiny, polished end result. Why? Because they're only shaped by what they can see, not by what they actually know. But then you have the stage. And that's reality. That's where all the unseen effort, the struggle, the messy, imperfect, sweaty process really happens. It's a reality you can only understand by actually being there, by experiencing it.
Okay, so it's one thing to know that we're all vulnerable to this balcony view. But the big question is, how do we actually get down onto the stage? How do we trade that beautiful but totally distant perception for real, actual progress? The answer, and this might surprise you, is all about the wisdom of slowing down.
Now I know what you're thinking. Slowing down? Come on. Let's be real, that probably doesn't sound very appealing at first. I mean, we live in a world that's all about speed and being decisive. Slowing down can feel a lot like falling behind. It completely goes against that core impulse to find the fastest, most efficient path, doesn't it?
But, and this is the crucial part, it's all about how you frame that pause. Slowing down isn't about stopping cold. It's about creating space. It gives you the chance to grow in new and honestly better ways. It lets you learn from realizing, hey, maybe I was wrong about this. And most importantly, it's how you collect real, actual, first-hand experience. And that experience is what finally lets you choose a path that is genuinely better for you, not just one that looks pretty from way up in the balcony.
And all of this leads us to the final and maybe the most important takeaway of all. Because when you finally decide to step off that balcony and get onto the stage, something pretty magical starts to happen.
What we find is that the most incredible, most profound moments in life,
They don't come from finally achieving some flawless, perfect ideal. No way. They come from the messy, unpredictable, and sometimes chaotic process of discovery itself. Real growth? That happens when we take a deep breath and step into experiences that are way outside our comfort zone, way beyond what we thought we knew.
You know, the truth is, this whole idea of the one right path is, well, it's mostly a myth. Instead, it's every single detour, every mistake, every challenge you face down on the stage, not watching from the balcony, that actually builds your wisdom. These imperfect, totally real experiences, that's what shapes your character. It's what makes you a more empathetic, a more resilient person in the end.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. Take a look at your own life right now, your goals, your ambitions. What vaunted path have you been admiring from a distance? And just think, what might happen if you decided to finally step out of the balcony, walk down the stairs, and get on the stage, to really truly experience it for yourself?